Today, we will be diving deeper into the world of One Flew the Cuckoo's Nest, a book by Ken Casey. We will be sitting down with Mr. Casey, Nurse Ratched, and Randall Patrick Murphy, all of which have varying insights about the dynamic craziness within the ward. Did you see McMurphy as a threat to your regime within the ward?
McMurphy was definitely a threat to my power within the ward over the other patients. He came in and was looking to lead almost a quasi-rebellion against me with the other patients. I do not believe he was insane. I believe he was a fully functioning human who was just looking to fake psychosis to get out of his time at the penitentiary and from doing hard manual labor every day.
Were your actions drastic in your opinion? What you took?
I feel like they were no more drastic than actions I took against other patients who actually had psychosis and displayed the same behavior as McMurphy.
Do you regret the path that you took to make McMurphy's time at the ward as dreadful as possible?
No.
Why would you say that?
He came in looking to disrupt the normal schedule of the ward, as well as have the other patients question my authority and my power. And I believe that I had to do whatever possible to try and stop that from happening so that I could maintain my power within them.
Well, do you believe you were successful in succeeding in your goal?
I would say that I was successful.
You'd say that there are McMurphy-type people all over the world. What would you say, in your opinion, was the fact about this?
I believe there are people like McMurphy all over the world. That is basic. He was a con man, and con men exist everywhere. There are always going to be people looking to make an easy, quick buck off of other people's hard-earned money. Some advice I would give is if someone else ended up in your ward that was a con man would be to rule with an iron fist like I have been doing, as well as discipline any con man activities that he may or may not do, and punish them harshly and quickly.
Do you think everything that you did to those patients in the ward was worth it?
In the end, I believe it was worth it. I ended up maintaining power and control over the ward, just like I did before McMurphy left. I think once they realized what I had done to McMurphy and the steps I took to make sure that his rebellion did not happen, they were even more scared than before and more willing to do whatever I tell them to do.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show today.
I was forced.
Mr. McMurphy.
Yeah.
Mr. McMurphy.
Yes.
Please have a seat so we can get on with the interview. Hi. All right. So, you ready to get started?
I am. All right.
So, first question.
Shoot it.
Who are you closest with within the ward while you were there?
Well, at first I wanted to walk around and meet everyone. I wanted to get to know everyone, right? Came to Brompton. He seemed like a really chill dude. You know? I walked up to him. Started making jokes with him. It was great, you know? I started to actually really get to know him. You know, he's a good guy. I like Brompton.
Also, you were a newcomer to the ward in general. So, what were your first impression? What were their first impressions, actually, of you when you came to the ward?
Well, I think they like me, you know? I'm a pretty down-to-earth dude, you know? But, I think at first they were a little bit uneasy, but eventually they really got to know me, and it was great, you know?
Dude, nice socks. Yeah. We're here with McMurphy. I have a few questions for you, Mr. McMurphy.
All right, shoot it.
First of all, what were your motives on going on this fishing trip and taking all of these patients with you?
Ooh, well, I guess to first start off, I mean, fishing trip's really a symbol, you know? It's a symbol for freedom, you know? It shows that, you know, we as people need to actually get out here in the world and show that we can actually be people in the society that we're in, right? Because that's really what this whole world's about. It's about just coming together and just having fun, you know? And just being real people, you know? People like Nurse Ratched, they're just trying to get in your head, and they're just trying to make you, like, just kind of push you down into the dirt. You know, we gotta be fish. We gotta be free.
Mr. McMurphy,
Yeah.
in your fight for power between you and Nurse Ratched, were you
Okay.
at any time frightened for your life?
Yeah, I was, honestly, you know? You know, as a man, I think it's good to actually announce that sometimes you can be scared, you know? When I walked up to Ellis freaked me out, man. He was just kind of like up against the wall. Tried to talk to him and just standing in his own piss, but we had to get him out of there, you know? We had to get him cleaned up, so then he walked out, and then all of a sudden he just kind of slapped back and then found that his fingernails were attached to the grave. It was disgusting, you know? That was when I realized that, like, that ward was not a safe ward. You know, it was dangerous. It's dangerous for all of us. You gotta get out of there. Miss Ratchet is not good, man. Not good.
So you were kind of scared you were never going to leave, right? Is that what you thought?
Well, I wouldn't say I would never leave, because knowing me, I could always get out of the situation. But she's definitely a very, very hard woman to deal with, you know? She's not a friend.
So, Mr. Murphy, you're faced with many trials and conflicts within the ward.
Yeah.
What do you believe was the largest and most prominent one?
Nurse Ratchet.
Why do you think that?
She was terrible. She was awful, you know? She would get under your skin, you know? We're all trying to help ourselves. We're all trying to be in the ward, and we're all trying to get better, right? But Nurse Ratchet, you see, she's insane. She's crazy. She gets under your skin. She makes comments. She makes these blatant comments trying to, like, bring you out and trying to get you to answer the question some way that she would want you to answer it, right? She tries to manipulate it, right? That's what she does. She manipulates the power. I'm here to stop it. That's really what I'm doing, you know? That's what this is all about. You know, I'm stopping the power, stopping her manipulation. It's wrong, man. It's wrong.
So, Mr. Murphy, do you believe that everything that you did in the ward was worth it? Mr. Murphy? Alright, good answer. Welcome, Mr. Casey. Alright, so, why did you choose a character such as Chief Bromden to narrate your story?
Well, Chief, he essentially acted like a fly on the wall for most of the novel. He was able to provide more insight on the characters and their relationships with each other.
So, did all the events that Chief Bromden actually described happen?
Oh no, not at all. He's a bit of a schizophrenic. I used his episodes to show that how the institution was affecting him and some of the other patients. Like for the fog, for example, he saw the fog all around the ward, how they're coming out of the vents, and that was just how Nurse Ratchet would impose her regime on the patients and how it blurred their view of reality.
The theme of power is very prominent within the story. How could you relate that theme to the story as a whole? Like, how important is it to the actual dynamic?
It's very important. As you can see, the most powerful people in the novel are those that are most confident in themselves, that they have the highest self-perception. Like Ratchet and McMurphy, even though McMurphy might not be in a position of power, he's definitely has the most control over himself because of how self-assured he is. And people like Chief, for example, very unsure of himself for the first half of the novel. He was pushed around by everyone, pretty much. Once he gained his confidence, that's when he became more of a person.
So, Mr. Casey, in your opinion, who won the overall battle between McMurphy and Nurse Ratchet?
I don't think you can really call either of them the victor because McMurphy showed that Ratchet wasn't invincible like everyone thought she was. And obviously Ratchet turned McMurphy into a vegetable.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Alright, we're good? This is
Look at all the fishes.
So, Mr. McMurphy, was everything? Oh my god.
Last problem. I gotta be up.
Less 4 probably. Okay, we'll do 25
I'm gonna start over, or are you just gonna spell
Oh, I'm
stuff
vertically
on the
filming.
words?
That's bad.